the box story. I have a couple pictures to show you. Box back. So, thank you. I think it's partly hard when you're an introvert to have people like talk about you. I don't know, I sort of trained myself to be able to speak in front of groups so it doesn't bother me, but just sort of focusing on me is always hard. So, and I'm glad for an opportunity to integrate with a foundation event so we sort of mix this in, and because it's really not about me. I mean, I appreciate what this community has meant to my family and myself, and I have amazing things in my box. This box, I'll take you to that story. Are we gonna go to the PowerPoint? Okay, so we'll just get that up, we'll do that. So what Mike so kindly talked about, I think it was a year or two ago, the story that I told was, that's the end. It came from a TED Talk about the penny that was worth $1 million, and the rang for me was that when I was a little kid, way back when, my grandfather and I used to have this thing. We'd get on the bus in Phoenix, Arizona, and take the bus downtown and get an ice cream cone, and he would buy a penny. And one of the pennies that he's helped me start a coin collection. And along the way, one of the pennies I had was the year I was born, 1954. I figured that out. So I kept that penny actually in kind of a special place. And my dad gave me this metal box that came from Gallatin, Missouri, where his family came from. I was named after my great-grandfather. And when they tore down the Gallatin Bank, they used to keep money in these metal boxes, and it's sort of carved on the side, Tim Culver. It was my great-grandfather's namesake. And so as a kid, I was given that box. And over the year of my childhood, I put things in a little box, and things that were special to a little kid, and it sometimes change over time to do that. But the story that I wanted teachers to get was that all kids and all people have a box. And sometimes it's real and sometimes it's symbolic, but we all put our little special memories in it. And that teachers and principals and sometimes even superintendents give something that goes inside the box. So it's real meaningful to me that I have so many positive memories that this box is going to symbolize my new box that I take with me, and it starts with this penny that's going to be worth $1 million, because $1 million in the foundation is an amazing thing that you've done together as a community, but this penny is worth more than that to me, so thank you for that. As Tom said, this is an amazing community, and nothing really happens because of any one person, and I said long ago, I think the very first referendum campaign in 1999 was, you're going to get the kind of community, the community's going to get the kind of school that you invest in. And it's not just taxes, and it's not just donations, it's what you give. It's what teachers give, it's what students give, it's what parents give. And you should be really proud of your schools that you have given your children an amazing school system. Sometimes it's by voting, sometimes it's by donating, sometimes it's by showing up and being at meetings like we had Wednesday night to talk about building the next school. But that investment is what really matters. So I've been really honored and privileged and gifted to be part of that, but it's not no way because of me. I've been a member of this group. I was cleaning out files, I found actually the original prototype name for this was called SPI, Sun Prairie's Investment in Children's Education. And I saw the list of names. Some of the people who aren't there, it was in 2003, we started asking people, do you think this might work? And in Sun Prairie fashion, people said yes, and worked hard. Tom Yelich is back there, was the principal Eastside. I think he was one of the original people at those meetings too. But just lots of people come together, and you make great schools. So thank you for this box, and thank you for starting the penny that's worth $1 million to me. So that's great. So I want to talk for a few minutes with you. As Tom said, what I'm interested in, whether I was here or not here, was building a particular fund. As I saw teachers do grants, there was a lot of grants for things called maker spaces and places for kids to do hands-on kind of things. And I sort of began learning that Steph knows a lot more about it than I do, and was sort of she was turning me on. It's what does this whole thing mean? So I wanted to share with you a little bit about an idea. And this picture that Amy said, why is there a picture of a guy in a bathroom? And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So what this picture is at the home construction open house, I go around and I visit with the students and I ask them to take a picture with something they're really proud of in the house. Because since we started the home construction program about 12 or 13 years ago, it was an amazing opportunity to meet with kids. Just as much as kids are passionate about playing saxophone and clarinet, there's kids that are passionate about building fireplaces and laying tile. And when you give them the opportunity to shine at that, they get that same look of pride and happiness on their face that they did that. So this is Yuri, and Yuri's a senior, and he's going to become an interior designer someday, but this year he helped build a house, and I could have shown you the picture of him, the fireplace that he built in the house, or the tile floor. I think he was proudest of the tile floor where he laid out and designed this tile, which didn't really come across in the picture. But that's kind of what the fund I'm trying to create is about, is how can we create opportunities for kids to put their minds together and their hands together and integrate all of the stuff we're learning, math, science, music. How can we give them the opportunity to create something? It isn't always tile floors or wood boxes. I'll show you an example of something a kid gave me in 3rd grade, what he made with his hands. And that's kind of the idea, is creating places in school. This place in this school is an amazing place for performing. It's awesome. You all built it because you wanted a place in a school where kids could perform. There's a place in school called Makerspaces, a place in schools where kids can make things. Right now it's typically in classrooms. There's a Mr. Ross classroom is kind of a space where kids make things. But schools are going to a place where there's general places where kids come from, not just English or shop or music, but they come together and they create things, and that's what a makerspace is. And it sort of comes from this idea, you're going to hear the words inspiration, imagination, and innovation, because that's what really drives the future, which is innovation, is kids who are inspired. When they get inspired, they imagine things that weren't, and they create new things. So that's Yuri's inspirational tile floor that he was so proud of, a chance for him to make things. Let's go to the next one. A makerspace, as it says, is a place to create, design, and make things. It's kind of a word that's come into more use in the last 10 years. It's not a brand new thing, but we're seeing a lot of grants. A lot of teachers writing grants for like, I'd like to do this, and we couldn't always fund them all. As a whole design, we'd fund pieces of it. So I thought we'd sort of focus on this fund setting up within the foundation to help teachers create those kinds of spaces in their school. This is a little more, next slide please, is a little more formal definition of what it is. I'll just let you take a moment and look at that. But the bottom box is what's really important. It's beyond the things we learn kids. Learning isn't necessarily about all the information and knowledge you can cram into your head and then put out on paper or standardized tests, although that's important, don't get me wrong. But it's about having kids make things, whatever it is. Taking their reading, taking their musical background, taking their math, and creating something that they want to create. And it typically has a lot of connections to what's called STEAM, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math, because those are kind of things that go together. And there's a great need in our society to have kids who are in those areas in particular, because kids who are great in STEAM areas are going to be great in the future, because that's what mainly the future is. Don't get me wrong, reading's still important. You have to have the reading base, but those are the skills that makerspaces get to. So I just thought quickly I'd show you give you a picture of what it might look like. Obviously, it's a particular dedicated space in a school. Could look like that. The next one. This is a makerspace in elementary school. Legos are an amazing way for teaching kids engineering and math and designing and making things. Go to the next one. This one is a makerspace at a school where kids are doing robotic programming. They're using codes and they're creating robotic hands that can pick up those codes. Look at the age of these kids and think of the experience of they get to design code and design how to solve the problem by using electronic robotics. This is just an example of this is in a larger library. Actually, this is in a different city because we don't have any that look like this in Sun Prairie yet, but we will someday. But places where kids can work on what they want to work on and apply learning. And sometimes it's in technology, but it's got the elements of having tools, having collaboration, applying your knowledge, and creating or making something you'd like to make. This one I showed you just an example of, they're not always about computers and technology, sometimes they're about the arts. Sometimes it's about wood. This one happens to be schools are finding places to put maker spaces. This one looks like it's in the storage room of some school where kids get together and design things. I love this one. If I was I think what a great idea. Think, tinker, and thrive. That's in a school, a place where kids know they can come and think and design and make things. That's what it might look like in a school. But the bottom line, it's about kids putting their hands on something, whether it's codes or tools or whatever. That's what we want to see kids doing, is doing things with their hands. And it could be as small as this. This is an example of a small makerspace. This is in a small elementary library. Again, not in our district. Just some opportunities for kids to go and have 7 different choices to make things. They're experimenting with this. I was at Creekside on Friday, and they did a temporary makerspace with their first graders where the kids were actually trying to rebuild the structure of the 3 little pigs. How could you build it so it wouldn't blow down? And it was interesting to see first graders begin to figure out strength and angles and design in first grade. It was a very interesting project. And it can be as complicated as this. This is a more advanced one where they're focusing more on doing code. They're designing and creating software code, so that's a more advanced version of it. But in any case, this is one of my favorite pictures. This has all the elements. There's a tool, there's a learner who's thinking and having ideas, and there's a thing that he made. In this case, he's doing 3D printing, which is becoming quite a popular thing where kids can design something and actually print it out and create it. This is in another elementary school. I want to share something with you. This is just sort of a pause thing. I don't like to talk about me leaving because A, it makes me sad because I'm going to miss you, and B, it's not about me, it's about this district going on and becoming greater than they are now to do that. But when I was at Creekside, this 3rd grader gave me this little bit of video. It's like 15 seconds long. He made it for me. So he made it. So this is what a 3rd grader gave me. It wasn't a makerspace, but he made it for me. So this is what a 3rd grader can do when they want to do something. So let's see his project. Could you do that when you're in 3rd grade? This is what our kids can do and will be doing in the future. And the more we can give them spaces where they can do this, it's not off to the side, it's integrated in learning. That's what the whole idea. Makerspace isn't the only thing that this fund I want to set up is for. It's an example of it, but we're going to tell you what the name of it is in just a second. But Makerspace is kind of an iconic way it could be done. Let's go back to the videos. Go to the next one after that. So this actually is Mr. Ross' class. You recognize that, and actually that's kind of cool because that's a kid making a box that I was admiring that I got today. So that is very coincidentally nice to do that. But what I proposed to the Education Foundation Board was to set up the Sun Prairie Inspiration, Imagination, and Innovation Fund. It's a little bit different in the sense that it requires a 50% match of the school district. So currently with most grants and non-dedicated funds, people just apply and they get the money and they do it. This one requires some thought on the part of the school district, so it's integrated into the school district and the philosophy of the school district. So it's a 50-50 match grant. So that I wanted to set it up that way so that it ensures that the district continues supporting the direction of this. And because that's a mouthful, and I couldn't think of the name, we came up with this, so you can click the button and it should go there. The SPI-3 grant to do that. So what my goal is by the end of June is to raise about $20,000. We have a $10,000 matching grant that anybody who donates will match dollar for dollar up to $10,000. So before I end my job on June 30th, I would dearly like to leave a $20,000 fund for our schools and our teachers to build innovative learning, inspirational learning, imaginative learning in ways that are integrated into the school district. So I have one last picture for you. And this actually also in Mr. Ross' class, but I love this picture because this kid came up to me. I was taking pictures in class of different things, and he said, "You want to take a picture of this?" And I said, it was, kind of shyly, and it's like I relate to shy people. So he goes, "Can you take a picture of this?" And I said, "Sure." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "I'm really proud of it." It's from my box from my dad. So that's what it's about, is kids making. Kids changing their life. And this kid, his father's life, I guess. That's what he said to me anyway. So we can just click the next two. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for considering adding more. I am certain that the foundation will reach $2 million. I'm certain you will build that next school. I'm certain you'll love your next superintendent. I'm certain I will come back to visit you. And it has been just a pleasure to be with you. And thank you for being here today on this beautiful sunny afternoon. So thank you.